And welcome to Vlog Thursday 403. I don't know what we're going to do for 404, but I got to do something fun for 404. Vlog not found. I'm not sure what we'll put on there. Nonetheless, it is GrrCON 2024. I leave in 9 minutes to go to GrrCON. So I decided to do a live stream just to talk about one. I'll see many of you there, or at least a few of you, because I last time I went to GrrCON, there's a few people that watch my channel that also go to some of the security conferences. So cool if I see any of you there. Feel free to start wandering around, giving up some stickers. There is a schedule I have here for GrrCON I was looking at, so I figured, hey, why not share this as well? But this is just a short live stream talking about well, I put GrrCON in there, but I have a couple other things I'll be mentioning here for videos. So I do have some upcoming videos on a lot of different things coming up besides GrrCON. So I don't really do videos about some of the hacking stuff, but I've been participating with Jason and Matt Lee, who are featured in the photo there. And we have a project we call The Hackening. And it's a series of companies that volunteer to be hacked by us. And there's a lot of restrictions. There's legal agreements involved and everything else. And we've been working on that. And one of the observations I'll have right away that I don't know if it needs its own video, but boy, is it an interesting attack surface. We think about IP blocking, but that makes complete sense. And you're like, oh no, IP blocking is what will save me. And if you happen to have IPv6 enabled, it will not save you at all, because you can get an absolute, on any of these different hosting services, an absolute crazy number of IPv6 addresses. You're like, here, no one else is using them, and there's a lot of them. So here's a quintillion IP addresses. And then you set up tools to rotate out the IP address that everything comes out of. And matter of fact, you end up never getting blocked by Microsoft when you're doing password spraying and things like that, because you just keep coming from a new IP address for each time you do it. And there's so many IPv6 addresses, it's completely easy to do. That was kind of my insight that I thought was funny when we were setting all this up. Like, whoa, it'll come and rotate through IP addresses. Wait, it'll run through IPv6 addresses. That's amazing. And it's pretty wild to be able to do that. Let's see, TRV. I'll pull up one of the tools that we're using for this, just because people might be interested in it. I don't know that I'm going to do a video on this as a topic in terms of like the tooling itself. But the tool we're using, it does some of this. It's called Trevor Spray. There's some really interesting things you can do with undocumented features of Microsoft's Graph API, as I've learned a lot about it. And it's a way to enumerate all of these things and figure out all the addresses and what people have settings and all the domains you have tied to Microsoft through the auto discovery tool. So yeah, definitely super interesting and clever how all that works. Oh, by the way, obviously because I'm at GrrCON, I'm in a hotel room. I'm not in my usual studio, for those that may have just started. Yeah, my wife's here too. She's getting ready.
Come visit me at the Blue Mirror booth if you guys are here.
Completely not sponsored by Blue Mirror.
Oh, wait. Blue Mirror.
Yeah, completely not sponsored by a random hedgehog. But there were, well, I take that back. There are some sponsorships. Blue Mirror has agreed to do some sponsorships with me. So there is a future by which we will have videos out. We've already started recording some of them. Blue Mirror is going to be sponsoring some tutorials on the channel. What I'm trying to do is, when I can, to keep the information flow free for everybody, they're going to do sponsorships of how to use certain tools. Some are just going to be open source Linux tools. And I think it's kind of a fun thing to have like Blue Mirror sponsor that. That way I have some production dollars and to keep the production moving forward. And on top of that, having the whole, ability to provide free content essentially off there. And they're going to lend me some of their experts to add context to it as well. So the having access to like their detection engineers, me and Amanda, and it was an unsponsored video, but me and Amanda did a video. Wait, one of them was sponsored. I can't remember which one. We've done sponsored before with Blue Mirror, but we also have a detection engineering video we did as well. And I think that one was not sponsored, just me and Amanda talking about it. Amanda Berlin has a new book on detection engineering. So
She'll be here signing them.
Yeah, she'll be here at GrrCON signing them. So if you look up Amanda Berlin book, at least I don't have the link handy. So pretty easy name, Amanda Berlin. So, so if you're whitelisting IPv4 addresses, does that by default block IPv6? I mean, that's a broader question of configuration. I would say I just turn off IPv6. It kind of reduces your attack surface, and this is absolutely more proof of that. Now, on another note, I will say I believe you cannot turn off, and I'll have to double check this because I feel like I read an article that said there was a way to do this. You can't turn off IPv6 authentication for any of your Azure SSO, and probably Google as well. So that kind of makes it interesting. I'm now surfing to the Blumera homepage. I hope you get a kickback. Yeah, we need affiliate links. That's what we need. Oh, perfect. Matt threw this in here for me. Defensive Security Handbook, 2nd edition by O'Reilly. Not just any book. It's O'Reilly published, and it's Amanda's a really good detection engineer. That's what she does over at Blumera, and she's, like I said, willing to lend her expertise to people.
And if you tell them Tom sent you, then we actually note that. And
oh yeah. If you sign up for Blumera, St. Tom sent you.
Yeah.
I have an offer code. If you look up my Blumera video, that one was sponsored. It clearly says sponsored video. There is a link you can click in there for signing up. That does show that you watched or at least assume that you got the link from the video. So fun stuff here.
And it's almost time to go.
Yep, it's almost time to go. I'll probably leave this off here. I know it's a short vlog, but I just wanted to say that's where I'll be at GrrCON. Say hi if you see me. Be back to my regularly scheduled program. And if there's time, I'll do another. I had fun doing a live stream Saturday. Saturday, though, is when I drive back, but I might have some time in between to do another one.
Do one while we're driving.
I don't want to do it while I'm driving. There's too many dead areas. There's too many dead areas and the cell phone drops. What are your thoughts on CVSS 9.9 remote exploit? That's usually bad when you see that. So if you see a CVSS 9.9, that's usually a bad thing. It's interesting, but we'll have to see. I know which one you're talking about. There's who is it? I think Evil. I'll pull it up real quick as the last thing here. So let me find their Twitter because they tweeted it. But to my knowledge, they still haven't released it. So yeah, it's still not released. So I'm looking at it. All it is there's an alleged really high severity bug inside of here. And hold on. Okay, let's make sure I have everything minimized in messages. There's nothing in there that's private. But anyways, yeah, it's a tweet that's by a security researcher that says there's a really high severity bug inside of Linux. And there's no details, so there's not really there's not anything to really talk about until the details are released. There's a security researcher that says it's a big deal, but of course, and I don't know this particular security researcher or their history, but every security researcher wants to say stuff's a big deal. There was another person who I got almost angry about how many people thought it was a big deal, because this person, one, has a history of saying things are a big deal that never come to fruition. I haven't looked at this person's history, so I can't answer that question for them. But I'm always very, very skeptical when someone tells me that there's a high severity blog just sitting there and it's a big deal. Because there was a guy that was doing this about a year ago, and I was like, I looked at their history of them saying that, and their Twitter accounts or social media accounts in general were a history of big deal coming soon and never coming. And when this person said it, I'm like, at some point, are they losing credibility? I mean, I'm not saying this doesn't exist, but how easy is it to exploit is what it really comes down to. That's what we're going to have to find out. You know, it's sometimes things are more complicated than you think and also require certain conditions. So even though you have an RCE that's at that severity, it's whether or not the conditions can be met to actually exploit it. That's what we need to know, is what exactly the conditions, what are the configurations for it. It's like one of those things, like there's a lot of RCEs in certain firewalls, but even if they're a full, 9 point whatever, way up there on the scale, trivial to exploit, it does require them to have sometimes, like it's completely trivial to exploit if they set the VPN up in this way, which is the least common way they set up the VPN. So it's not that it shouldn't be patched, but the sky isn't falling as fast as you may think it is. These are why the details matter so much. And it's also one of the challenges of figuring out these scoring systems is trivial to exploit gets you a really high score, but there should be almost another, like, how common is this configuration? That's a big factor. If this configuration is a really weird one and people just don't set it up this way, these are not the parameters they choose. It's kind of like saying, like, oh, there's a vulnerability in a web server, and you're like, hey, that's public facing, so that's going to be bad. But it only is if you enable this module. Who uses that module? Oh, no one. Like, it's very rarely used, and it's path to execution. We were talking about this last night. Our car ride there, we had Jason and Eric from the company. Many of you know Jason Slagle. He's a really good president of CNWR, really good reverse engineer, but also, he talks about path to execution. That's the question you have a lot. Hey, cool, we found you have these libraries within this application. Yeah, but there's no path to execution, so those libraries don't matter that much. Those are the reasons why it's like the details matter of what it's actually going to take to exploit this, whether or not a proof of concept comes out that makes it easy and trivial, and if it's a common configuration. So all those factors have to be taken in, and that's why I am very cautious. I mean, hey, I'm all for securing and patching things, but I'm also cautious of large, big announcement coming soon because people like the amount of attention that gets. But I'm going to leave you here because I got to go to the event, and yeah, that's the next step. So thanks everyone for joining, and see you next week or sometime in between if I get time to do another live stream. Later.